Coral reefs are one of the most diverse biomes in the entire world. They provide shoreline protection as well as bring in tourists and help support the local fisheries. Many people don't know, but coral reefs are actually communities of hundreds of thousands of tiny animals called coral polyps. These tiny polyps secrete a layer of limestone, also called calcium carbonate, to form an external skeleton. When these polyps die, they leave behind their external skeleton, and other animals build upon this to form a reef. Coral reefs are generally found in warm, temperate, or tropic waters. These waters are generally shallow, so less than 50 meters, and the water is agitated, but light can still penetrate for photosynthesis. Most coral reefs are found between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south of the equator. However, there are some exceptions, such as Bermuda, which is found above the 30-degree north line. Coral reefs can exist here because it is in the direct path of the warm Gulf Stream waters. Reefs are such a rarity outside of the 60-degree window because of cold waters and sometimes coastal currents that can occur with upwellings. Coral reefs are also very rarely found near freshwater releases such as the Amazon River. Although this biome is very diverse in terms of the amount of species found, coral reefs lack nutrients. The pH of a coral reef is generally about 8.2, but currently it's 8.1. This 0.1 decrease in pH means that the ocean and coral reefs are becoming more acidic, which can be detrimental to the life that lives there. Some abiotic limiting factors include pH, light, waves, current, and temperature. The optimal temperature of a coral reef is 68 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. A comparison point is the average temperature of the open ocean is 39 degrees Fahrenheit. It is very difficult to find precipitation level because rain is falling into a large body of water and therefore is dispersed around. There are three types of reefs: the fringing, the barrier, and the atoll. Fringing reefs are directly attached to the shore or border the shore and have an intervening shallow channel or lagoon. Barrier reefs are separated from the mainland by a deep channel or lagoon, and atolls are circular reefs that enclose a lagoon without a central island. All reefs are separated into different zones. There are three major zones: the reef flat, the reef crest, and the forereef. The reef flat is a nearly flat and sheltered area on the landward side of the reef and consists of the back reef and the lagoon. The reef crest is the ridge between the forereef and the lagoon. Few species live here because of the intense wave action. Lastly, the forereef is the area closest to the open ocean. Every biome has major consumers, producers, and predator-prey relationships. The major consumers in the coral reef are white-tipped reef sharks, black-tipped reef sharks, barracudas, Monterey eels, lionfish, and manta rays. The major producers include seaweed, zooxanthellae, algae, and bacteria. Because of the large amount of species diversity on a coral reef, there are many predator-prey relationships, such as manta rays eating small fish, sharks eating hawksbill sea turtles, or barracuda eating small fish. Because of their inability to move to find food or to avoid being eaten, plants on coral reefs have many adaptations. Many of these plants have bigger cells in order to be able to collect enough light for photosynthesis. Also, they have toxins to keep fish away, or they have many mutualistic relationships, such as zooxanthellae living in the coral and giving the coral nutrients in exchange for protection, or seagrass, which live in between coral reefs and transfer nutrients to the coral. The fish on coral reefs also have adaptations, such as small size for maneuverability and hiding, coloration for hiding, flat and maneuverable bodies, gills for breathing, and some fish, such as the clownfish, are resilient to the sting of the anemone for safe living. Even with all these adaptations that plants and animals have, they are not prepared for the environmental impact that humans are having on their biome. Pollution has become a huge problem on coral reefs, with agricultural runoff and water pollution. With all this pollution, it's causing the coral to become stressed and a process called coral bleaching to occur. This is a process when all the zooxanthellae from the coral is expelled, causing the coral to die and turn the reef white. There are many conservation plans in action right now to help save coral reefs. For example, local governments have designated marine protected areas and marine national monuments which are monitored, cleaned, and protected by the government. Part of this effort includes limiting pesticides and fertilizers used near oceans because this increases the burning of fossil fuels and harms water quality. Another human environmental impact is humans touching the coral and boating. When the coral is stepped on, touched, or run over by boats, the coral becomes stressed and coral bleaching occurs. Also, in recent years, dynamite has become a popular method of fishing, but in addition to killing the fish, it's also breaking apart the coral. There are several ways to deal with the increased number of dying coral reefs. Reef restoration methods are a way to regenerate the reefs that have been damaged by transplanting the broken fragments. Coral fragments are transplanted onto rebar structures alongside the natural reef, adding to and regenerating the reef system. Although there are several laws against this, invasive species have become a huge problem. Aquarium fish such as lionfish are released onto the coral reef and begin to disrupt the food chain. Hawksbill sea turtles are one of the main predators on the coral reef. However, starting in 1982, they were endangered and critically endangered as of 1996. These turtles can generally be found resting in caves and on ledges and around the reefs throughout the day, but they help maintain a healthy coral reef and seagrass system. They remove prey such as sponges from the reef's surface, and they provide better access for reef fish to feed. However, these magnificent creatures are under threat and their numbers are beginning to dwindle. They have slow growth, maturity, and reproductive rates. Many adult turtles have been killed by humans, both deliberately and accidentally. In addition, humans and animals encroach on their nesting sites, and small mammals dig up the eggs. Also, humans use the shell for decoration and eat the meat as a delicacy. Also, hawksbill sea turtles have a very limited diet of select sponge species, so once these species are killed off, they have nothing to eat and therefore die. These turtles are covered under many conservation acts, such as the Endangered Species Act since 1970 and the Conservation on International Trade in Endangered Species, which makes it illegal to import or export turtle products, or kill, capture, or harass a hawksbill sea turtle. There are currently several recovery plans and groups to help sea turtle numbers increase. The WWF aims to reduce turtle bycatch by working with fisheries to switch to more turtle-friendly fishing hooks, called circular hooks, and advocate for the use of special turtle excluder devices in nets. Marine Protected Areas, MPAs, are used to ensure that sea turtles have a safe place to nest, feed, and migrate freely. The hawksbill sea turtle nests are currently being monitored, and tracking devices are being put on the baby sea turtles to monitor the whereabouts and current numbers of these sea turtles.